Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, XRP, and the Sigma coin. All right, starting with today, Bitcoin. We've been using our tool on Bitcoin now for quite a bit of time, and we have this on our 6-day. And you can see how simplistically this has been to trade Bitcoin over the last swing trades for the last year and a half, since September of 24. So now a little bit less than a year and a half. So now what was great is we have our first flipping of our indicator to green. So we've been oversold. We have a blue bar here, and we now have this green one also giving us the same thing with this beautiful, nice aggressive structure here playing out for Bitcoin. So the expectation is that this will close here for this week of January 1st through the 7th, and we'll get a new candle print on the 7th in a few days, and this will in fact be considered a green buy indicator. This has been extremely consistent, this indicator, for the last year and a half and then some, because I back tested it for almost 4 years now, and it's extremely accurate. So this is very, very great in telling us that it's go time. All right, we jump over to XRP. Oh, look, we turned green, and now look at price action. I know we got a fake out right here, but this was just because Bitcoin wasn't ready and the market wasn't ready, but you had great opportunity to DCA through here, and now you would have, if you had bought your final bag at $1.84, you'd be sitting with a wonderful upside of, let's go with the bottom of that candle to where we are today, you'd be up 13%. Very nice. So that's our good move here on XRP. Zooming in on the XRP short-term price frame, we can see that we have our wave 1 and our wave 2 corrective structure. Now from here, we're working on our wave 3. So this impulsive wave 3 will have a breakdown in a few components. And I'm guessing we will be able to make it and clear this level here to the left, getting us back up to about 250-ish to the fair market value tag here over the next couple days with an 18% upside. Maybe next week or so, maybe less. So going to put this pocket of inefficiency to work over here where it wicked up, made this inefficiency gap, and now we're going to come back and close it, hopefully even with a higher high, and push past this level before we do a back test and be able to clear this area of inefficiency over there. So, all right, so looking for that 20% upside potential. Zooming out on our XRP, part of what we're going to see moving forward is just kind of this schematic, and I have a few others to give us some perspective of how structures can play. So in this schematic, we have completed our creek all the way down to this level, moving it down here. Now we've moved up. We're going to move up to the top of the range and do a couple back tests on top of the prior all-time high, moving realistically up into this zone of this $4 range. Okay. Now with this though, what's the pathway to get there? We might see a couple different avenues. So number one, we have this additional schematic that I'm going to bring into the fold here. So this schematic right here ends up showing that we have the same creek that pulls through here. This one ends up going into spring, and then it has a test that comes into this jump across the creek level. Notice how this will clear that secondary high to the upside right there. So we got that secondary high to the upside. If we were to do this right here, so we kind of go 1, 2, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's this rollover spring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have this up move down. So we would actually clear into this, even this 280 range. So we may even get up to $280, $293 before we have to go in and do a back test and move up again to finish this. So just be aware that there might be a retest back down and then completion of this, or we just go straight across the whole move. So that's interesting. Now, zooming out and looking at past performance, you can see we've had an area where we did a 5-way move for wave 1, an ABC to the back down to the downside, and then we did wave 1, 2, and then this was 3, 4, and 5 to complete this whole move. In this wave 2 section, which is where we are now, we had an impulse off the lows, an impulse off the lows, and then we had an ABC down, ABC down, ABC up, and then we did an ABC up. So there's your ABC down, ABC up, right here. And then we did the creek that came all the way down to this level, creek all the way down to this level, and then we popped off and sent for this next move to the upside. Now, zooming into this price action, here's what we got. So here's your price action. Here's your initial impulse. Here's your ABC down, ABC up, and then this creek that comes in, sweeps into these lows, closes the gap to the left-hand side, comes up to mid-range, chops to the side, and then goes parabolic. So this is that same mid-range concept. And you can see we get kind of stuck below that level right here, okay, where it's mid-range for XRP back in the day. So now we come back here, that would take us right up into this 250 region. So I'm anticipating a couple pathways. If we have this way and that, I'm fine. I love that. That makes it very, just rip the band-aid off to the upside and we just get out of here. Or we have to do something along these lines where we get up into this region, mess around, then head higher, then do our ABC, and then we can get out of here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of our two potential pathways. There'll be probably another chop right up in this region too. So this is kind of what I'm thinking is ultimately going to play. We'll be watching price action as we approach 250, 260, but for our larger macro swing trade, we don't care. We're just going to let that happen, and we don't care. If you want to scalp it, good for you. And this, again, where would be a rough estimate of where I think we could see price action get up to before we have anything. This is the 10-10 breakdown. If we move this fib back over to the very start of this whole move of this range right there, now you can see we would be able to get up to this 250, maybe even this 260 region before we have any issues with it. So, all right, so that's kind of where we're now looking at our price action. And let me actually go back here. And with the 10-10 event, you can see that maybe even we get up to this, 260. There you go, up to the +2, maybe even +3 deviations, closing a portion of that gap. So we could be in the high twos before we know it, maybe just in a couple days to a week. So anyway, that's all great news. And with that, we will see Sigma finally get some love. So Sigma's been just kind of on its slow creak to the downside. We've got now the potential for XRP to be pushing it to the upside with its AMM. And with it will ultimately result in inefficiencies being closed to the upside. And now we just are waiting for structure and higher highs to start coming into play. So it won't take long for this price action to start reversing. And these market caps are crazy small, 570K, which is incredible. So we're already up 3% just in the short period of time. If we move back up into, let's say, a 0.5, let's go to a 618 pullback, or we'd be a 5x right there. So that's a wonderful, wonderful potential upside right there for what you got going on, and that would close that inefficiency gap. So I can see a 5x happening here in the very short term while we wait for XRP to make its 20+x. So Sigma's poised and ready. We just need capital to come in and inflow. Again, volume has been next to nothing, so it's not going to be a lot to take it. Let me just look at how low that volume is, right? There's absolutely nothing here. So now we're just waiting for volume to pick up, and that's the last component of a wave 2 is that volume profile is next to nothing, and then bam, it goes because volume steps in. Liquidity heat map shows that we have price action up to 250, maybe even to 260, right? So there's a confirmation for where we could be going. And then we have the overall macro view of the 3-day telling us we're good to go. We're just going to listen to this guy. Pretty straightforward. There is chop, of course, as we move through. So as of right now, we haven't even seen the green line move off the lows yet, right? And you can see how parabolic that happens. We're just barely starting to see it separate here. So we got plenty of time to move to the upside. And then finally, Bitcoin's telling us it's go time. XRP on the historical Wyckoff accumulation shows that it's good time, and different examples of how we would play out. And lastly, short-term time frame, beautiful wave 1, wave 2. Now we begin our wave 3 impulse up into this region. So, all right, hopefully that was helpful on this Sunday, and we will check in tomorrow.